And we're joined by Chris Buescher, driver of the number 37 Scott Product Chevrolet for JTG Doherty Racing. Now, Chris, the last time you were in here, the rain was pouring. It was coming down in buckets. Lightning was flashing, thunder. It was pretty stormy around here, but you were also a winner of the race. Talk about the emotions that went through that, and coming back here to Pocono where you had such a great historic moment in your career.
Yeah, we needed a John boat to get back to the hauler afterwards. The garage was about a foot deep, but we luckily I guess it all fell in between being in here and getting done. So we weren't necessarily in the rain, but yeah, it was pretty awesome to be able to get that win and everything play out the way it did. A big moment for us. Got us heading towards the chase for last season, and got us into the All-Star race this year to be able to participate there. So, a lot of great things came from it, and everybody keeps asking me how excited I am to get back to Pocono. And the problem is it's not not one of the places where we're as fast as some others, but it is a unique racetrack. I do love coming here. It's tough, and it's hard trying to find just a little bit of speed. When the corners, basically lead on these straightaways that are so long, it's one little mistake leads to 3-4 tenths at the end of the straightaway. So we gotta work hard to be consistent and get the balance rolling good. And so far with our Scott Product Chevrolet, we've been getting it heading in the right direction, and I think we're in good shape to go qualify here.
Okay, we'll open the floor up for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We're going to start up front with Jerry, and then we'll go to Zach.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. That's the weather forecast for Sunday.
It's a lot of sun and clear skies.
Yeah, you don't need rain to win these things, obviously. But here's the thing: you guys have kind of turned it around. You've shown what this team can do, and you talk about the advances on this season. I think we reflected on some of that at Hickory earlier.
Yeah, it's first of all, I'm sure Brandon's happy to look at that forecast as well. For this season, start with a completely new team with JTG Doherty Racing going to two teams. I don't think anybody showed up, really could show up to start work until after the new year. So it was very, very hectic trying to get everything rolling into the beginning of the season to get to Daytona. And then that West Coast swing is what's so difficult for a new team when you're trying to build up inventory and you're trying to create notebooks on different chassis numbers. And you find something out there, and you go out and one race, you got something that works pretty decent. You're sitting out there in Vegas like, hey, we need to try and implement this. And, well, you can't. The other two cars are already on their way, and there's no time. So it did create a little bit slower start than what would have been ideal. But we've definitely found some things through, since Martinsville that have started contributing to better speed. We've gotten a better understanding with Trent and I, with our entire team working together for the first time this season. A lot of them have never worked together at all, and with the exception of a handful being together before that. So, as smoothly as you could really ask it to go is what's happened. Been really happy with that. At the same time, they were expanding the shop with Wood Brothers relocating. So it's just a lot of chaotic mess early on, and they turned it into something that was very well organized, very well put together, and we've been able to show up the track and have better speed as we've gotten closer to the summer months here. We still got to work on it, and we still got to find little things here and there, and whether it's downforce, whether it's different chassis settings, different things we need to do with spring shock, whatever it is. I don't think we're way off. We just got to keep fine tuning and finding these little tidbits here and there that'll make us faster.
We'll go next to Zach, and then to Dustin, and then over to Dominic.
Zach Sterniola with the Pocono Record. You touched on the fact that you weren't necessarily thrilled to be coming back here just because of the lack of speed and all that. But does Pocono kind of, is it special for you now that this was where you got your first Cup Series win? And what are kind of the emotions when you got back into this facility?
Yeah, it's definitely special. And I am always excited to come here because it is a fun racetrack. It's always more fun when you're sitting in, P1 on the board. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. But, for me, it's been a love-hate relationship. So I've been fogged out here twice in a race car, actually. And the first one was in an ARCA car. And I hated it I hated this place after that because we went back green, and we really shouldn't have. It was foggy already. And we went down turn one. We passed for second. And we got underneath the leader coming off of 2, and they threw the yellow and eventually the checker because of fog. And I felt like we got robbed that day on the ARCA racing side. And so for me, it was I did not like this place for a long period of time. Obviously, Xfinity just now starting to come here. I did not have the chance to run an Xfinity car here, so a little bit limited on track time between that day and coming back in a Cup car. And I think. At the end of the day, I'll take a win in a Cup car over the ARCA car. I'll take that trade, and made me a lot more excited to come back to this place every time. I can hear you.
There's all this talk about the youth movement. You're 24 years old. Do you feel overlooked?
To a certain extent, maybe. We good? You want me to keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep rolling. You're good. The same age as a handful of them. Me and Ty obviously ran ARCA when we were the same age. Austin being a little bit older, and then we've had the movement of these other kids that are way younger coming in and participating, and so a part of it, and it's nice to be there. And it's going to remain very challenging as the years go on, and I'm not getting any younger, and it seems like the younger kids keep showing up, and I think you look at the feeder series, so with ARCA, with the truck series, K&N and Xfinity, you look at how well some of these kids are doing at the young age that they are. It's only a matter of time before they find themselves in a competitive Cup ride and are able to be a part of that same talk, and so. At some point it's going to become the normal. It won't really be a youth movement. It'll just be the field. And, I think we've seen a lot of shakeups over the last couple of years. And, we're hearing a lot more that are right on the horizon that'll be moving around here pretty shortly.
Go to Dominic, then the Lee.
Dominic Ottagona with TheRacingExperts.com. So at this point in the season, do you think you and your team can still point into the playoffs, or do you think it's going to take a win at this point to make the playoffs?
I think it's going to take a win. I know, consistency is a big part of it. Honestly, the stage points have played a much larger role than I expected them to at the beginning of the season. I was really unsure of how exactly that was going to play out and how much emphasis everybody's going to place on, trying to go out there and get those stage points. And I think, they've added up rather quickly. So that's something that, as we get better through a race, we've missed out on stage points, and so that we're only getting those final points at the end of a race, and so that is, cost us some points. My super speedway record is no better this year than it was last year already, so that hurt us some points. But at this point, we're going to need to go out there and get a win, the best I can tell, and be able to get into the playoffs that way.
Go next to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Did you read the comments Dale Jr. had to say about you about looking at drivers in the future?
I have heard a little bit, yes.
I mean, if you despite what Dustin said about you maybe overlooked, to get that kind of recognition from NASCAR's most popular driver has to say something about the progress that you've made over a short time.
Yeah, first off, I just want to tell him thank you for that. When he talks, our fans listen, and so that's pretty awesome. To be talked about it in that manner, and I think he says like a dark horse, right? And so that kind of sums it all up, right? I mean, it's something that's not quite the most obvious, but it is an opportunity for us to be able to go out there and make a name and gain a fan following through the years here, as hopefully a really long tenure here in the Monster Energy Cup Series. So. we're going to keep working on that and get to the point where hopefully we can get talked about as a more mainstream, fan vote going forward.
Additional questions for Chris? Chris, thanks for taking the time to join us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you wear your sunscreen. You don't need a jumbo today.
Yeah, we're good to go now.